Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm T with Teresa H Creates, and I wanted to continue my Alice in Wonderland junk journal or journal series. I started with some altered books. So I did a tutorial previously where I altered a classic book, the actual pages in that. And in this tutorial, I wanted to, well, semi-tutorial, I wanted to go ahead and take apart a little golden book and show you how I do this. I have done two. I was able to pick up three Alice in Wonderland themed little golden books. And so I've done two of them here. And I wanted to keep the gold foiling because to me, it's not a little golden book unless it has the foiling. And so I definitely wanted to keep that. I have 3 signatures per book. And so I wanted to, I'm not going to do the actual stitching or the signatures in this tutorial. I just wanted to show you how I take the book apart and assemble it to get ready for signatures. And so this is the other Alice in Wonderland themed book. This one is, let me see, this one I used Echo Park. This is the Echo Park Alice in Wonderland paper. And in this one, it is graphic 45 paper that I'm using with that. And then this little golden book, this is Alice in Wonderland. And when I looked through the pages, I thought they were really bright, really colorful. And so I am going to select the papers from Reminisce. And this is part of the collection that I picked up a few months ago. And this is, I'm going to take you through it real quick. I went ahead and cut some pieces because I'm going to use them for the spine. And so I wanted to go ahead and have that prepped. But here's, I'll just show you this one. This is the full 12 by 12. So it's the purple roses and then the spirals, that rabbit hole, and there's some floral. So it's a mixture of some ultra realistic and then not. So like this is just a standard teacup page, and then this is kind of realistic looking sort of mushrooms. And then here's a hedge. I'm loving that. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this so that I can center this in the book somehow. So there's that. The opposite page is this one. So it's the white rabbit in there. And that's all of those pages. And then there's a sheet of stickers. So let's go ahead and get to taking apart this little golden book. And this is just, I'm not a skilled at this by any means. I haven't, actually, this is only the third one that I've ever done. I did it twice. I did do some recording, and when it rains, it pours. So first I was sick, and then I ended up, my phone died. It got the black screen of death. I was literally in the middle of watching a video and it just died. And there was no indication that my phone was going to die. So I was pretty bummed about that. I had to get a new phone. But anyhow, I didn't back up like I should have. I lost some recordings. And so I'm kind of starting over. I had wanted to show you some of the fails that I made in those first 2 attempts, but I'll have to just stick with telling you about them, I guess. So this is how I go about doing this. So you can tell under the little foils that there's 2 staples stapling this book together. And I'm going to go in the center here, but I want to pull it. I want to pull them out. So these rounded parts right here, I'm going to put pressure and try to pull that, lift it from that. So I'm going to put my bone folder in here and kind of just give it a twist. I want to twist it kind of where that staple is so we can start pulling those staples apart. And I'm going to work both sides. You can see this. So see, you can see that staple in there. It's applying some pressure. Let me get these out. Let's see. It's happening. You may tear up that foil just a little bit, but you can burnish it back down, so it's really not that big a deal. And I think I heard that give on this side. So let's try over here. And I might be able to get this off. Oh no. Yikes, a lot of that'll be covered up though. Okay, so we've got a little bit of damage here, but we'll put some glue over it and burnish it down, and it'll barely be noticeable. And I am going to straighten these out just a little bit. And then I am going to remove the signatures. So it had 2 signatures in it. When it comes out, get these off of the staple. Okay, so it has 2 signatures. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to take a pencil and I am going to number these pages, because I am going, and it's just a light numbering. I want to keep them in order. I'm going to take them apart later. And I want to make sure that when I cut them apart that I've got them in order. And then I can erase this number. Later, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are so many tutorials out there for the little golden books. I encourage you to look at several and just find something that works for you. What was really important to me was that the story be maintained. I still want you to flip through the pages and to see the story and to be able to read it. And so that was what was really important to me. But also be able to put it together in a traditional journal style. 23 and 24. Okay. And then I am going to paper clip this so that I don't lose these and set them aside. So that was really important to me, and while also keeping this gold foiling. So then what I'm going to do, now that I've got these out, and you can see the staples here, I'm going to pull them. I'm going to try to pull them from one side. I'm going to get my tool and then just start kind of twisting it to see if I can. I don't want to. Some of them give a little bit easier than others. Okay. See, that whole staple came out. And then we'll do it on the other side. It's kind of just a twist. And maybe I should have, you know, this is always a learning process. I'm going to go ahead and cut this apart because it looks like I'm tearing the center anyhow while I'm doing this. So I am going to go ahead and cut this apart and then try to continue removing that. So what I do is I kind of just put this straight edge, this metal ruler. I have a small metal ruler, and I kind of try to put it in the center there. And then you can take any kind of cutting tool, an X-Acto blade. You can even use your scissors. This doesn't have to be done this way. This just works for me. And just cut right down kind of that center, because we're going to wrap this. Let's see. Yep, it cut. Okay. So now that I've got that done, and this is just, I mean, this just takes some patience. So I'm glad you're kind of seeing this, this part of it, that you just have to be patient and work it out. And then there we go. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and kind of flatten those back down, burnish those ends back down. And then there we go. So there they are. And then go ahead and get rid of these before I hurt myself. Put my Sharpie tool away. And, you know, something that you can do, this is one that I tried in the very first book that I altered. Instead of pulling those staples out, I tried to get really close and snip those little ends. Now, they still ended up being there though. Like I could feel them, and they didn't hurt me in any way, but I didn't like the feel of the little bumps there. So, one option, if you didn't want to pull that staple all the way out, is to take your, and these are just some tools that I had from, some mixed media and assemblage work that I used to do. And I think they're just jewelry tools. But anyhow, you can take your little snips and snip those off. That would also work if you didn't want to hassle with trying to pull that staple out. I don't know if you can hear it. I got a little distracted there for a second. It's raining here, which is my favorite time to be in the studio, is when it is raining outside. I feel really creative then. Just a cup of coffee and studio time. So I used it's the art glitter glue. I got it right down that seam, and now I'm folding this over. Folding it over. So that it will stick. And you can burnish it a little bit. Do it a little bit lightly though. I've noticed that some of the foil, if you're really rough on it, some of that black will come off. And one of them, the foiling, that black rubbed off a little bit. So, and then here, these aren't too bad. I'm just going to kind of reinforce these little areas here. And I'm literally going to put it down and then just kind of rub that glue into those little spots so that nothing catches and pulls up. So I found it better to just use my finger tool for this, and just kind of force it down that way instead of using these tools. Oh, and happy news. So I don't know if any of you caught my one of my earlier videos. I lost my bone folder. I'd had it it was one of the first tools that I ever purchased, and I'd had it for forever, lost it somewhere, could not find it. I was devastated, and then ended up buying a Fiskars. Where is it? I don't even have it out here. It's terrible. I ended up going to, I think it was Michael's, and found this Fiskars, and then located my actual bone folder, which I was hoping. But see, look at the difference in that size. And this has some good weight to it. This does not. Look at that. And I've used it so often, it's nice and rounded. It doesn't have any of those edges to it. So I found it, and I was just thrilled to have that back. It's like I said, it was one of the first tools I'd ever gotten. I'd had that bone folder for 17 plus years, I think. And so I was really missing it. It's one of those things that I use every time I craft, whether I'm journaling or card making. Every time I get into the studio, I'm going to use that bone folder. And I really missed it. Really, really missed it. Okay. Now I'm going to set these aside to dry. And while those are drying, we're going to work on the spine. So I know that I'm going to have 3 signatures. Now these are going to be alligator mouth books for sure, but I really like the width of these. This works for me. And I haven't, these are just the pages. I haven't done any decorating or anything. That'll come later, but I do know that this is going to work for me. This is the size that I like. So what I chose is, I did chipboard in 1.5 inches. So I measured my little golden book, and I believe it is like 6.5 by just under 8 inches. And the thing is not every little golden book is made the same. They are not the same height. I've noticed small differences, and it really makes a difference when you go putting it together, you know, that measurement. So you do want to measure every single one of them. So this one is spot on. And so I cut some black chipboard out, And I chose this purple. I really like all the purple and the little Cheshire cat, and it's just kind of dark. It's just a little bit moody to me. So I chose this purple, the purple roses to go on the back of this. So I kind of want to find the center of this. Let's see. We are going to, there's 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. He's going to be right about here. So I'm just going to put a mark there. So I cut this down. So it is exactly 8 inches. And then I left an extra, inch on each side. Looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. And I'm just using my art glitter glue for this. Just try to line it up. Now, if I was using a different color chipboard, like a natural color, let me see. Like I have this natural color chipboard in my stash also. If I was using this, I would have left an inch up here and an inch down here so that I could overlap it. But because I'm using this black chipboard, I don't mind that it shows at the top. And so I'm not going to bother with it. So we've got that down. I'm gonna give it a good burnish, and now I can see those edges in there. So it's on nice and well. And then I'm going to bend it to go ahead and fold it. Fold it up on those edges. Again on this side. A nice crease. Okay. Now, in order for, this was just the best method I found in order for the foil to stay visible, is that I'm going to attach it on the inside like this. So this is what we will do next. And I am going to miter this just a little bit. I'll grab my scissors. So I am going to trim up these edges just a tad. I don't really mind if it goes to the edge of the page, but I just think it looks a little bit cleaner if it's just a little bit mitered. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I did that with, I didn't do that with the first, I did that with the second. Like I said, it's just been trial and error. So this is really what has just worked for me. That has been it. So now I'm going to get ready to glue this down. So I want to make sure this one isn't directional, so it's not a big deal. We're going to go, and we want to leave a small space in there. That's going to be about the width. So about 1/8 of an inch, which is about the width. Let me just use this chipboard, it's a little bit smaller. So if I go to that edge and I put that in there, and I do use the glue for this. I prefer the glue because it gives me some wiggle room. So there we go. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and put my art glitter glue down. Be a little generous with it. And this is why I burnished it so well, so that I could really see where those edges are. And I'm going to flip it over, take a look, bend it, take a look, see. And I like the position, so I'm going to go ahead and burnish it down. And now we will do the other side. You can leave that there if that is helpful to you. Okay, and then eyeball it. I'm so used to wrapping them around the spines that it always takes me just a second to figure out the direction and where I'm going with this, right? Just a minute. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go in and burnish this down. Nice and stuck. And then pull on it, make sure it, there we go. Make sure it's going to open. Looks good. All right. And that's not it. We're going to do more to help reinforce that. You can see that it's still a little bit loose, and we'll reinforce it some more. So on to the next step. We are going to put a sheet over it to help reinforce this spine. It looks like I might be slightly off, but it'll be okay. Not terribly worried about it. All right. I do want to ink up around the edges of this piece of paper. I've got a little bit of the white showing from the core, and so I do want to take a minute. I'm using tea-dye distress ink and also tea-dye oxide ink, the distress oxide, just to kind of get the edges of these books, book pages, so they all blend a little bit. They're all a little bit more fluid. Besides, I don't particularly care for a white core on paper, so that's another reason. Okay, so up until now, I've been using nothing but glue, but now I am going to use, this way, I want that spiral there. Now I am going to use the actual sticky tape. So I have, and this is ancient. I don't even know. I don't even think I bought this. I think this was given to me, but I found it while I was organizing. Get some scissors to open this up, and it's just this peel and stick double-sided tape. I need to get a another set, something a little bit newer, I think. And that's almost the right size. So, and I don't even have, look, I don't even have the non-stick scissors. So I have had to clean up my scissors after every single one of these projects because it's gotten a little bit on the tips or on the edges of those scissors, and then there you go. So I'm just going to warn you now, this double-sided tape, and in particular, this, I don't know if it's just this brand, I can use like the strips, the little strip adhesive double-sided tape brilliantly, not a problem. This, we've been fighting since the get-go, and I still do not have it down. It's more than likely user error, I'm sure. But we have a love-hate relationship, that's for sure. That is for sure. It is a beast, and I know you're going to ask, if it is such a beast, why mess with it? Because it sticks. it sticks. It will get the job done. That is why. And that is the only reason why. But again, just a mess. Okay, so I'm sure that I'm supposed to pull this off last. I don't know. This side comes off easier than the other side. I'm told it's just going to be a struggle. So I apologize for that in advance. Maybe because it's so old, I don't know. It's still good though. Maybe some of the newer stuff isn't such a beast. If it's not, let me know, and then I'll for sure invest in some, because this is just the bane of my existence, and I did not even get it on straight, and who cares? I don't even care at this point. I don't even care, because I know the struggle bus that is coming. This is just, you guys are in for some awkward video. Okay, so I've got this on. I'm going to, where is my, okay, I was going to say I lost my bone folder again. I'm going to go ahead and burnish this down again. Make sure it's on there nice and good. Okay. Make sure I get these corners on here. Okay. And then I'm going to pick it up. Let me see. I'm going to use my little pokey tool here, my little cutter, to see if I can get this to separate. This is where this tape and I have been struggling. Is this part right here. Finding a section and getting it started. Getting this whole process started. So, if you wanted, you could use a combination of double-sided tape. Red line tape is really good stuff. I don't have any red line tape. Otherwise, I would probably be using that. Like I said, I just found this and decided to use it. I'd never used like the full sheets of tape before, but this really just worked. It works really well, as long as you can get it to semi-behave. And once it's down, like you're committed. And we're committed. Like that's it. And look, it's off just a tad bit, and that is so aggravating. But it's down, and I'd already pressed it, and that's done. It will be fine. It will be fine. I'm going to trim this up just a tad where it's hanging over. And I know you're looking at this and thinking, there is no way in heck I'm using this, right? I'm not really selling this double-sided tape really well, am I? But there it is. But here's the deal. It's not going anywhere. Like, your book is going to be solid. So I'm going to pull up on the ends there, or on the side of the book, and I'm going to burnish that nice and good. You don't want to get in there with the Sharpie end, because then you're going to end up puncturing it. So you want to make sure you're in there with that round edge and just kind of making sure it's a good fold. There we go. I'm going to do the same with this other side. I'm going to get in there, get a nice burnish on it, crease it up, fold it in, and we're good. We good? We're good. There we go. Look at that. And that is it. So I've got a 1.5 inch spine. I'm going to have 3 signatures. Each signature so far has had, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 12 pages, I think, in it. So that will be the next step as far as what I do. Next step will be that. Let me go ahead and do the spine so that you get it ready for signatures, just so that you see. Is it tearing a little bit here? It is. It was pulling apart a little bit. It's the first time I've used that Reminisce paper, so I'm not sure how sturdy that's going to be, but it seems to be okay. It's not as thick as some of the other paper that I'd been using, like that graphic 45 paper is pretty tough. See, now, if you're worried about something like this where you can just see that little edge, then this would be a good time to tell you now that if you had wrapped your paper, it would be seamless. You wouldn't even be able to see it if that was something that I had done. This doesn't bother me. It's already black, so I'm not really worried about it. In the grand scheme of things, there's going to be so much other stuff going on that is not going to be a huge deal, and it doesn't impact the integrity at all. So I'm more concerned with whether or not this paper is going to hold on here, and if I need to kind of reinforce in there a little bit. But anyhow, I'm going to show you how I go about prepping this. So I have this bookbinding kit that I got off of Amazon. It comes with all the stuff that you see in here. So I've got my little binder clips for my signatures and everything. It comes with some wax binding threads and everything. And then it has some needles, and it has these little hook needles that I did not care for. And so I got these needles, and I use either this really big one here or this medium-sized one here. This was really big. So I switched over. One of them I used, let me see, the first one I did, I used that really big needle, and it was really, really pushing through that paper. And then the second one I did, I went to the little smaller one, and it seemed to do okay. So I've got my it's just a book that I use for making ephemera in my studio for books and journals and things. And so it's not, and I also use it obviously for bookbinding. So what I did is I cut out a strip of paper, and this is 1.5 inches. I found the center, ran it all the way down to the center. Okay. And then I measured halfway between the center and the end, center and end on each side. Then I came down 1/2 inch, drew a line, and where those lines intersected, that's where my 3 holes are going to be for my signature. Found the halfway mark, again, where those lines bisected, that's where I was going to, or intersected, that's where I'm going to put my 3 holes. Again, 1/2 inch. There you go. So these are my spots for my signatures. This is specifically measured for 1.5 inch. And these 8-inch books. So I'm going to put this down, and I'm choosing to do it from this side because as this all goes through, it pushes the paper out a little bit, and I'd rather have it on that side than on the outside. Like with these, I went through the inside of it and it pushed that paper out, which I'm going to decorate, so not a huge deal. But on this one, I went through the outside, and you can see it's much cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. This part is always a little bit stressful for me, getting all of this right. So I like to kind of just get it out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and put these holes in there. I'm holding this pretty good because I want it to stay put. My book isn't quite long enough, so I'm going to have to move this up a little bit and then get these guys down here. And there we go. Now, these are still a little bit too small. I'm going to take them up to my awl about there. So I'm going to go ahead and just have it that way. See, my needle is going to, once it's threaded, it'll slide through there real easy, and then I'm not fighting it. So I'm going to go ahead and prep these, make them just a little bit wider, and then we'll be good to go. So I hope you guys got some useful information out of this. Like I said, I am not an expert by any means. This is just trial and error. What I have found works for me and what I end up liking in the end. And there you go. It's ready to go. That is our third little golden altered book. This was the second one I did. This was the first one I put together. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video now, and then I'll do a part 2 where we actually put the signatures together for this third book and go ahead and sew it into our book, into the spine, so you can see that process. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I will respond to every comment. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. If you've already subscribed, I really appreciate your support. Bye.